Okay, here we go now, folks. Let's start the next case. This is number 22. Niagara Fallen. Niagara Falls. I've always wanted to visit Niagara Falls, Matthew, the honeymoon capital of the world. But now that we're here, tracing the identity of Arthur Darkwood's fallen demon accomplice, it doesn't feel so romantic. We hardly know anything about Rathimiel's human identity, except that he was known as the Pilgrim when he was hiding on the East Coast in the 1990s. Arthur says it was Rathimiel who made and hid the 5 keys that can open the cage holding the Demon Queen captive in the Netherworld. The evil demons already have 4 of these keys, and if we don't find the last one before they do, all hell will literally break loose. That's why we come to the Niagara region, an area marked on Rathimiel's map. The region is notorious for being one of the most haunted places on Earth. Thousands of lives are lost here during bloody battles fought over the centuries. The locals even celebrate this special reputation by throwing an annual supernatural ball. It's a long shot, Matthew, but it's a logical place to start our search. Take Luke with you to that supernatural ball and see what we can find. Coronavirus is still going around. 2 cases have already been determined in Hawaii. Got it. Whoa, is that a dead werewolf, Matthew? It looks like he's been strangled. Wait, you're right. That's Ronnie Hawk. He hosts that paranormal trend vid show, The Phantom Zone. That's just a werewolf costume. Whoever killed Ronnie waited until this ballroom was deserted, but I see you've already found some clues. Those broken pieces look like one of Ronnie's devices. Let's put that back together and see if we can get it working. Smart thinking, Matthew. That photo booth should have pictures of the other party guests on it. People who might know what happened here. See if you can get past that camera's password. A guy like Ronnie, with all of his supernatural connections, might have helped us track down Rathimiel. Instead, we need to track down his killer. Okay. We'll start the autopsy now. And I need to get some stars, so sit tight, everybody. Okay, I got 8 stars. Let's get this out of the way. Six, 7, 6, 7. Six, 7, 2, 4, 4. Got it. Now that we have access to this photo booth camera, we can search for some of Ronnie Hawk's fellow party guests. Look at this photo, Matthew. That's the victim, together with Bathsheba. She's that crazy vampire with a soft spot for Bigfoot and chupacabras. Crazy or not, it's obvious she spoke to Ronnie Hawk this evening, so let's go find Bathsheba. Matthew, you were invited to this party too? Look, I'm dressed like your partner, Gwenny. This isn't like Daddy Oculus's boring vampire ball. I get to dress up and hunt all the ghosties and goblins. The garlic is fake, of course, but this wooden stake is totes real. Okay, this is all very interesting. But we wanted to ask you about this photo. Ronnie Hawk's been murdered. What? Wolfie is dead? He said his name was Hawk, but I know a werewolf when I see one, furry and fluffy, just like Biggie, Footy, and Choopy. Did you see Ronnie with anyone else at the ball? No, but he said he parked his van out front. I guess that's something, Matthew. We better go outside and search that van. Get the broken device out of the way first. Got it. You were right, Matthew. This is definitely one of Ronnie Hawk's gadgets. What do you think it's used for? Luckily for us, we have a tech expert. Let's send this device to Hope. Sorry guys, Bandicam ran out of room, but I got some extra help. So this van is how Ronnie Hawk crisscrossed the country filming segments for the Phantom Zone, Matthew. He's almost got as much equipment as we do in our trailers. Check out these vials, Matthew. Dragon's claws, mermaid scales. I wonder what Ronnie was doing with this. You're right, there's a note. Ronnie, I'll get more of these next week. I'll get you more of these next week. Whoever left this note clearly knew the victim. Let's try to match that handwriting to our records. And that device stuck to the victim's van has the FBI insignia on it, Matthew. Do you think Ronnie Hawk was being tracked for some reason? Only one way to find out. Let's decrypt that password. The note you found with those glass vials was written by a certain Reggie Pratt, Matthew. You've met this guy before, Matthew? That's right. He was the Alcatraz security guard who allowed Xander to do what werewolves do in private. But what's he doing at a supernatural ball in Niagara Falls? Let's head back inside and ask Mr. Pratt. Haha, don't freak out, Matthew. It's just a demon costume. If you knew the half of what we know about demons, you'd be on edge too. You guys do sound stressed. You didn't even get a costume. We're actually here looking into the murder of one of the party guests, Ronnie Hawk. Ronnie's dead? Oh no! How do you know him? The last time we met, you were a security guard on Alcatraz. Squeezing money out of those werewolves made me realize there was a fortune to be made selling certain desirable items to supernatural creatures. Blood for vampires, ingredients for witches' potions, bat venom. It might not all be legal, but I'm just making a bit of money. I'm not hurting anyone. Anyway, I saw Ronnie's Trendvid show and figured he'd be a good contact to hook me up with supernatural customers. So he did, for a small finder's fee. Now if we're done here, I want to get back out on the dance floor. That number on this tracking device looks like an agent ID number, Matthew, but it's definitely not George Matheson's. But speaking of which, maybe Matheson knows who this tracker belongs to. I'll just get him on the phone and... Hello, Agent Matheson speaking. Hi, Agent Matheson. It's Luke Fernandez and Matthew here. We were hoping you could track down an FBI agent number for us. Always happy to assist, Matthew. What's the number? 992-184-970. Ah, that number belongs to Agent Bucky Johnson. Officially, he's retired, but he often does consulting work for the Bureau. Thanks, Agent Madison. Come on, Matthew, let's find out why Bucky Johnson was tracking the victim. Excuse us, Agent Johnson. We wanted to speak with you about the murder of Ronnie Hawk. Madison told me you might make contact. You must be Matthew. That's right. Is it true the FBI was tracking Mr. Hawk? Well, I don't want to alarm you, but back in the 1960s, I worked a few cases involving suspected time travelers. It sparked my interest in the supernatural, so I transferred to the Bureau's Paranormal Division. Highly classified cases, top-level security. What does that have to do with Ronnie Hawk? Mr. Hawk has always been on my radar. Anywhere that Ronnie went, unexplained activity was certain to follow. Events like tonight's supernatural ball are hotbeds for paranormal activity, and clearly something out of the ordinary happened since Mr. Hawk ended up dead. Do you have any idea who might have done it? No, and I've been asked by Agent Madison to give you some breathing room to investigate, so the case is all yours. And I'll leave these two to run their courses. I'll have all stars collected by then. So for now, this is Matthew. See you soon. Okay, we are back. Let's get the results of the victim's body first. From Ben. Ronnie Hawk's murder is a harsh reminder of how dangerous the supernatural life can be, Matthew. It's sobering to think that even a paranormal vlogger can end up murdered, let alone supernatural hunters like us. That's true, Ben, and if we don't find the final key to the Demon Queen's cage, our road will be a lot more dangerous. She and her army of demons will be strong enough to breach the barrier between Earth and the Netherworld to plunder the life force of this planet. But first we have a murder to solve. Did you find anything examining Ronnie Hawk's body? As you'd already figured out, the victim was strangled. Unfortunately, the killer left no fingerprints behind. And it's clear Ronnie didn't go down without a fight. How can you tell? For one thing, part of the victim's costume was torn, which might have happened during the murder. But more importantly, something was gripped tightly in Ronnie's hand, half of an empty ticket for one of those Niagara Falls boat tours. Clutching at anything for dear life, Ronnie must have torn half the ticket from the killer. Which means our killer recently took a Niagara Falls boat tour. They'll learn pretty soon that this isn't a pleasure cruise. About to go take a shower first, but I figured I'd get this out of the way first, rather. I was about to take a shower, but I figured I'd do this first. This device you sent me is beyond cool, Matthew. If you find any more of Ronnie Hawk's equipment, feel free to let me see them. Why so enthusiastic, Hope? Has it got anything to do with Ronnie's murder? I can answer that, dudes. This is an Orographic Camera. Rather than simply recording images, it captures the spiritual auras that resonate from beings and objects. Kind of like supernatural X-rays. But how does that help us solve this case? Because the last orograph captured by this device before it was of the killer. Or something the killer was holding, at least. Just before this device fell to the floor and was stomped on by the killer, it snapped an image of the killer's cocktail glass. From the resonance frequency of the aura, the beverage was a mixture of vodka, lemon juice, citrus liqueur, and ginger ale, a popular cocktail caught on Niagara Falls. Now, Ben says there was no alcohol in the victim's system, which means that we're looking for a killer who enjoys Niagara Falls cocktails. That's far from a smoking gun, but a clue is a clue. Niagara Falls has a history of being a focal point for paranormal activity, Matthew. But instead of finding a new lead on Rathimiel, also known as the Pilgrim, we stumbled upon the strangled body of Ronnie Hawk. The FBI's paranormal consultant, Bucky Johnson, wasn't at the party itself. He's been tailing the victim for months to monitor supernatural activity. Security guard turned supernatural products dealer Reggie Pratt had business dealings with Ronnie, while Bathsheba, another blast from the past, seemed too preoccupied with her Gwen costume to notice anything. As cases go, this has been an odd start. Why don't we... Matthew, I found a new lead on your case. I was looking at Ronnie Hawk's buzzer feed and noticed the last post he uploaded before he was killed. Apparently he was at the top of the falls earlier today, preparing to jump off. We'll get to Chapter 2 after this. Don't go anywhere. And we're ready to start Chapter 2 of Niagara Fallen. I've just gotten word that I did get word that my language class tomorrow is canceled. And I'm on spring break now. Well, I have to do one more assignment, but we'll do that tomorrow. We last left off with Gwen saying she found a lead. Whew, excuse me. Ready to jump off them as a publicity stunt. Jump off Niagara Falls? We've not heard any reports of that, so Ronnie mustn't have gone through with it. But if the victim was on that cliff before he was murdered, we should take a look around. Got it. I think it's been years since anyone lived in that abandoned cabin, Matthew, but that backpack proves Ronnie Hawk was here earlier today. Let's search for the victim's belongings. It looks like the victim's laptop already fell out of his backpack, so let's try to log in. And is that an invitation to the supernatural ball, Matthew? Whoever this belongs to could be an eyewitness. Let's reveal that faded name. Well, I'll do everything now. Get it out of the way. Ooh, a Phantom Zone flyer. There's a promotional flyer in the victim's backpack, Matthew, for his Trendvid show, The Phantom Zone. But look, someone scribbled something on that gravestone. Ronnie Hawk, strangled to death. That was how the victim was killed, which means this flyer must have been sent to Ronnie as a threat by his killer. Priya should examine this flyer for clues. You've logged into the victim's laptop, Matthew, and it's opened up to Ronnie's video editing software. He must have been working on a new clip for the Phantom Zone. Let's take a look. This is huge, Trendvitters. Joining us next week on the Phantom Zone is Roxanne Vega, leader of the Vampire Coven. Make sure you're filming my good side, Ronnie. Do vampires live forever? Can they go outside in the daytime? And what's the deal with sparkly vampires? And we find the answer to these questions and more in an exclusive interview with Roxanne Vega, Queen of the Vamps. Queen of the Vamps? That gives me an idea for the Niagara Falls Supernatural Ball. I'll see you there, Ronnie. That was Roxanne Vega, Matthew. After the murder of Dr. Aculus, she's now the leader of the Vampire Coven. But not only was Roxanne being interviewed by the victim, she said she was attending the Supernatural Ball. Which means we should ask Roxanne Vega some questions. You're looking rather drab for a masquerade ball, Matthew. It's like you just stepped off that boat tour I took last night. We're not party guests, Roxanne. We're investigating the murder of Ronnie Hawk. Yes, I heard about that. First Dr. Aculus and now Ronnie. Can't I go to a party without someone getting killed? We saw Ronnie's video recordings. We know he was planning on interviewing you. The bothersome runt followed Pierce home from a club one night, discovering me in the Vampire Coven. He asked me whether I'd come on his show for a segment called Interview with a Vampire. I've never been shy of the spotlight, figuratively speaking. So he talked you into it. Of course, Dr. Aculus would have been horrified, but he's not in charge anymore, is he? Now I need another Niagara Falls cocktail. Let's get this party started again. Go. The name of this invitation is Wendell Go, Matthew. That's weird. This cabin is listed as Mr. Go's address, but it's been abandoned for years. Either way, we know he was at tonight's Supernatural Ball, so we need to speak with Wendell Go. Excuse us, Mr. Go. That's quite an impressive costume. I'll take the compliment, but you don't have to butter me up if you want to ask questions. Bathsheba told me you're supernatural hunters. And this is no costume. I'm actually a Wendigo. Parties like these are great. I get to hang out and drink cocktails with humans by pretending this is a costume. I even took a boat tour on the way here. Oh, I get it. Wendell Go. Wendigo. That explains why you live in that cabin. You're here about Ronnie Hawk, aren't you? Just horrible he was strangled like that. Did you know him at all? Only by reputation. He hosts that paranormal Trendvid show. Which is why I kept a low profile tonight. Costume party or not, I didn't want him to figure out who I really was. And I'll see you guys when the Phantom Zone Flyer has run its course. I'll have all stars collected by then, so for now, this is Matthew. I'll see you soon. Okay, we are back. Let's get the results of the Phantom Zone Flyer. Whoever left this thread for the victim was very careful not to leave any traces behind. There isn't a single fingerprint or skin cell on here. But there's no such thing as the perfect crime, Matthew. There's always some trace of the killer. What have you got, Priya? On the corners of the flyer, where the killer would have held it in their hands, I found losartan, potassium, and hydrochlorothiazide residue. These are the active ingredients in blood pressure medication, which means you're looking for a killer with hypertension. Well, getting arrested for murder won't help the killer's stress levels. Meanwhile, let's take a closer look at Ronnie's van, in case there's anything we missed. Those torn pieces of cloth are ripped from Ronnie Hawk's costume, Matthew. Didn't Ben say that might have happened during the murder? We have to put those pieces back together. And I know enough about engines to understand these wires are from the van's brake line, and someone's cut them. Whoever did this was trying to crash Ronnie's van, with him in it. We need to analyze that purple liquid to find out who. I need to get stars. Sit tight, everybody. Okay, I got all 5 stars. Let's examine everything now. Got it. Let's get this piece of Ronnie Hawk's costume to the lab quickly, Matthew. It could bring us one step closer to catching his killer. Got it. Now that we have a decent sample of that purple liquid from those wires, Matthew, let's get it under the microscope. We need to find out who tried to sabotage the victim's brakes. bat venom. Huh. That purple liquid is bat venom, Matthew. Don't get any of it on your skin. Wait, you're right. Reggie Pratt said he sells bat venom, so he was the one who cut Ronnie's brakes. I thought Reggie had a good business relationship with the victim, but maybe things aren't what they seem. We need another word with Reggie Pratt. Mr. Pratt, we thought your business relationship with Ronnie Hawk was mutually beneficial, so why'd you cut his brake wires? Oh, those. Alright, fine, you might as well know the truth. Ronnie was trying to extort money out of me. This trip to Niagara Falls was supposed to be profitable. Ronnie agreed to meet up to exchange some goods and promised to provide me with a bunch of new contacts. It was supposed to be a fun trip, too. I even went on one of those boat tours. But when we met, Ronnie said he wouldn't help me find new customers unless I paid him more money. It made me so mad my blood pressure is through the roof. Mad enough to commit murder? I'm not sorry Ronnie is dead, trying to put the screws on me, but I didn't kill him. Seems to be telling the truth. I'll let the werewolf costume run its course. I'll see you when that's done. And we've returned. Let's get the results of the werewolf costume. It's funny that Ronnie Hawk dressed as a werewolf for the supernatural ball, Matthew. If Xander and I went, we could have gone without a costume. Well, you wouldn't be the only ones. In any case, what can you tell us about Ronnie's torn costume? I can't be certain whether it was torn during the murder, but I can tell you who did it. I found tiny fragments of a dry yellow substance on the material. On closer examination, I determined they were small chips of nail polish. Yellow nail polish? That's the color Gwen wears, but she was nowhere near that party. You're right, Matthew. Someone dressed exactly like Gwen is at the party. Bathsheba. But why would Bathsheba tear the victim's costume? It looked like she was getting along fine with Ronnie. We better find out what happened, Matthew. Let's speak with Bathsheba again. Come have a drink with me, Matthew. I bet a Niagara Falls cocktail is Gwen's favorite drink. We're actually more interested why you tore Ronnie Hawk's costume. Ronnie's lucky I didn't stab him with my stake. Wolfie wanted to take that photo with me, and that seemed fun, but then he tried to make a pass at me. I told him no, but he wouldn't listen. I like parties for dancing and trancing, not romancing. So you lashed out and attacked him. I pushed him away and his costume ripped. I considered flashing my teeth to scare him, but it probably would have encouraged him. Biting would have been too good for him anyway. I'm glad Wolfie is gone. Solving Ronnie Hawk's murder is proving difficult, Matthew. He seemed to have his fingers in a lot of pies. The vampire's coven leader, Roxanne Vega, seems to have nothing against the victim. She was starring in a new segment on his show. But we thought Reggie Pratt had a good relationship with the victim too, and look what happened there. He went and sabotaged the victim's brakes. And Bathsheba was angry at Ronnie after he harassed her on the dance floor. To narrow down our list of suspects, we'll need... Matthew, come quickly, something's wrong. Bathsheba broke into Gwen's trailer, and now they're fighting. Hello. And we'll see you guys for Chapter 3. Do not go anywhere. Okay, we've returned. Let's start Chapter 3 of Niagara Fallen. We last left off with Hope saying that this is it. That's just what we need. Come on, Matthew, let's go break this up before things get out of hand. Drop it, you crazy bloodsucker, before I blow you to Kingdom Come. Oh, Gwen, you're silly. You know regular bullets won't hurt me. I'm just borrowing your hat for my costume. I'm dressed like you. I can see that, but you're not going anywhere with that. Look at me, I'm Gwenny Harper, Penny Sharper. Come with me back to the ballroom, Bathsheba. We'll get you your own hat. Can I have a blue one? Blue like the blood of an Arctic dragon? Sure, whatever you want. I'll take Bathsheba back to the ballroom, Matthew, then meet you at that abandoned cabin when I'm finished. Enjoying an apple juice right now. That was well, for what it's worth, I wouldn't have got the first star anyway. Nicely spotted, Matthew. I didn't see that book the first time. It has the victim's initials on it. But the title is faded, so let's dust that off and find out what Ronnie Hawk was reading. I can't tell who this phone belongs to, but we'll know once we crack that password. And we might as well put those broken pieces of wood back together too, Matthew. At this stage, we need any lead we can get. We may not know who strangled Ronnie Hawk, but it's only a matter of time before we catch them. Gonna get stars full, sit tight. Okay, I got 4 of the stars. Let's take care of everything now. Got it. Keep out Ronnie's sign. Those wooden pieces are a keep out sign, Matthew, specifically meant for the victim. And it's obvious we wanted to keep Ronnie out. There's a drawing of a Wendigo. So Wendell Go didn't like Ronnie hanging around his home. He never mentioned that when we spoke to him before. Looks like our Wendigo friend has some explaining to do. Have you caught Ronnie Hawk's killer yet, Matthew? I'm ready to go home. I don't mean to be insensitive, but this murder has really killed the mood. Nobody's going anywhere until we've caught Ronnie's killer. And speaking of your home, it seems you were angry that Ronnie was on your property. So I guess you found the sign. The thing is, Ronnie wasn't just down there posting on Buzzer about harebrained stunts. He was filming footage for his show. He'd been following rumors that a Wendigo, aka me, lived there, and he wanted to catch a glimpse of me. So you were worried people would find out who you really were. Worse, if that video went online, paranormal chasers would come to gawk at me, maybe even hunt me down. It's enough to make anyone's blood pressure rise. We understand you were trying to protect yourself and your territory. Let's just hope he didn't resort to murder. Moment. Oh, never mind then. Get the phone out of the way. Oh, I didn't even have to move my mouse. Judging from these text messages, this phone belongs to FBI agent Bucky Johnson. Look, Matthew, Agent Johnson was being ordered to take care of the Ronnie Hawk problem. Whatever that means, it can't be good. We'll have to ask Agent Johnson about this. I'll be with you in a moment, Matthew. Just taking my blood pressure medication. I shouldn't be taking it after my Niagara Falls cocktail earlier, but at my age, what does it matter? We're curious about your orders regarding Ronnie Hawk. What does it mean to take care of him? I think the more important part of those orders was that Mr. Hawk had become a problem, a liability to the FBI and a danger to national security. The young man was harmless at first. His videos lacked substance and were more gimmick than anything else. This afternoon, for example, he claimed he was going to jump into the falls, a stunt I witnessed from my vantage point on a boat tour. Occasionally, however, Mr. Hawk discovered paranormal phenomena that shouldn't be shared. I'm sure you'd agree, Matthew, not everything supernatural is in the public interest. So your instructions were to eliminate him. Of course. But that doesn't mean I killed Ronnie. It was simply a matter of ending his trend-vitting career. I hope you're right, Agent Johnson. If you did murder Ronnie Hawk, we will find out. Well, he's in the running. Dampier's A Secret History. The title of Ronnie Hawk's book is Dampier's A Secret History. I've heard Felix talk about Dampiers before, but I can't recall what they are. Let's send him this book. Maybe he can refresh my memory. Nine hours. I'll see you guys when this is done. For now, this is Matthew. I'll see you soon. Okay, we are back. Let's get the results of the Dampiers book. I gotta say, dudes, I really dig Ronnie Hawk's taste in reading. If it's okay with the Chief, I like to keep this book. What's so good about it, Felix? What are Dampiers? Dampiers are half-blood vampires, children born out of a mixed relationship between a human and a vampire. Vampires tolerate relationships with humans, like Pierce and Gwen, but having children from a mixed relationship is, how would I say it, frowned upon. Which means Dampiers are extremely rare. So I was Ronnie reading about them. Well, Ronnie had written some notes in the margins of the sections on how to trace the ancestry of Dampiers. Not only did Ronnie believe he himself was a Dampier, he claims that Roxanne Vega is his mother. What? Ronnie Hawk thought he was the son of the Vampire Coven leader? No wonder he tracked them down. Roxanne might be cagey if we ask her about this, Matthew, so we'll need to be shrewd. We're curious, Roxanne. In these interviews you were filming with Ronnie Hawk, did the subject of Dampiers ever come up? Dampiers? Why don't we speak about those? Ronnie apparently believes he was one, and that he was your son. What? How did you know? Oh man, there goes my blood pressure. There's no point hiding it from you, Matthew, but you mustn't tell a soul. It's true, Ronnie was my son. I had a short fling with his father, a human, many years ago, and I fell pregnant. The Coven doesn't take kindly to half-bloods, so Ronnie was raised by his father. Somehow Ronnie figured out I was his mother, and he begged to join the Coven. He wanted to be one of us. If it came out that I had a human child, I would be removed as leader of the Coven. And now that he's dead, your authority is no longer threatened. I didn't kill Ronnie, if that's what you're suggesting. Dampier or not, I wouldn't murder my own child. We'll see. While we still don't know who strangled Ronnie Hawk at the supernatural ball, Matthew, I feel we're close to catching his killer. Wendell Go, a real-life Wendigo, was angry at Ronnie for filming on his property. The last thing a supernatural creature like him wants is paranormal tourists or hunters invading his territory. Agent Bucky Johnson, on the other hand, had orders to take care of Ronnie Hawk, but he claims it was simply to stop him from making supernatural videos. And then there's Roxanne Vega, who turns out to be the victim's mother. Ronnie demanded to join the Vampire Coven, which threatened her position of power. We've no shortage of suspects, Matthew, but we're still missing the smoking gun. Let's see if we can find it on the crime scene. That torn piece of paper, Matthew, that's the other half of the killer's boat tour ticket that was clutched in Ronnie Hawk's hand. Since we know that ticket belonged to the killer, a sample of those threads could tell us who they are. And we also know the killer was partial to Niagara Falls cocktails, so let's see what we can find in that tray of dirty dishes. Got it. Let's rush these threads you collected off the killer's boat ticket to the lab, Matthew. Cocktail glass. That cocktail glass you found on that tray could be the one the killer used, Matthew. Let's have Priya examine this glass with a fine-tooth comb to be sure. I'll see you guys when these two are finished. See you soon. Okay, we are back now. Let's get the results of the white threads. I'm betting those threads Matthew found on the killer's boat ticket probably come from a costume, Priya. Am I right? Not even close. These threads aren't from any type of clothing at all. The material itself is cotton, but I also found traces of polytetrafluoroethylene and silicone. Polyfluoro what? The details don't matter. The important thing is these elements are commonly used on bandages designed to speed up the healing of scars. Now, if your killer has been using these scar healing bandages, then we're looking for a killer who has a scar. Keep an eye out for that, Matthew. I won't keep you in suspense, Matthew. That cocktail glass was the one used by Ronnie Hawk's killer. I found traces of their blood pressure medication on the glass's neck. Excellent, which means they probably left some DNA behind on the rim of the glass. I did extract a saliva sample, and the results are extraordinary. You see, the amount of protein present in a person's system increases with age. The older you are, the higher the protein ratio. Now, based on the protein buildup in the killer's saliva, I've estimated they must be more than 300 years old. What? You're saying Ronnie's killer is over 300? That means they're definitely a supernatural creature. They say that wisdom comes with age, Matthew, but committing murder isn't very smart. We knew the Niagara Falls Supernatural Ball was a potential hotbed for paranormal activity, and we were right, Matthew. A supernatural creature has murdered Ronnie Hawk, and it's time they face justice. Not Bathsheba. Not Reggie Pratt. Certainly not Bucky Johnson. Yeah, certainly not, because he's 80 years old. I don't see Roxanne Vega. I do not see a scar on. Wendell, go. Wendell, go, Wendigo, or whatever you want to call yourself, we're taking you in for the murder of Ronnie Hawk. Of all the people at tonight's gathering, you think I was the one who killed Ronnie? For someone who's more than 500 years old, you sure haven't learned how to plan a decent murder. You left clues everywhere. Is that right? The victim's orographic camera captured an image of your cocktail when you broke it. And you smudged your blood pressure medication all over that threat you sent to the victim. You even let Ronnie tear away half of your boat tour ticket. You practically gave us a signed confession. When you put it that way, I suppose there's no point hiding it. I did kill Ronnie, but he was trying to steal my home. See, I don't actually own that old abandoned cabin, but I've lived there for centuries. The world has gradually been built up around me, but I always managed to remain hidden. Until Ronnie Hawk came along, planning to buy the property from the city council and move in. So you thought it would be better to kill him? I may not own that land, but it's been mine since ages past, and Ronnie thought he could just swoop in and take it. So I confronted him at the ball, revealing who I really was, but he just laughed, saying I should come on his show rather than complain. He didn't heed my warning, so I strangled him when nobody was around. Something you'll need to be punished for. We're handing you over to FBI agent Bucky Johnson. He'll decide your fate. Do what you must. I spent 70 years in a Port Braxton prison for trying to steal the Black Sparrow from Blackbeard. I outlived him, and I'll outlive all of you. Matthew, Wendell Go has been handed over to Agent Johnson, safely in the hands of the FBI's Paranormal Division. Which means we can get back on the trail of Rathimiel, a demon who fought alongside Arthur Darkwood during the Civil War in the Netherworld. On Earth, Rathimiel was known as the Pilgrim, hiding the 5 keys that can open the cage holding the Demon Queen captive. The evil demons already have 4 of these keys, and if we don't find the last one before they do, they will release the Queen and conquer our world. Little is known about Rathimiel's human identity, except that he lived on the East Coast in the 1990s. Then what are we waiting for? The sooner we know more about this pilgrim, the quicker we can find that key. That'll do. I'll see you guys for the AI. The Keys to the Kingdom 2.5. Okay, let's start the Keys to the Kingdom 2.5. We just learned that Wendell Go is the killer. With Wendell Go safely in FBI custody, Matthew, we can resume our investigation into Rathimiel's human identity. It was Rathimiel who created and hid 5 keys to the cage that holds the Demon Queen captive. On Earth, Rathimiel was a mystery man known as the Pilgrim, living on the East Coast in the 1990s and rumored to have supernatural abilities. We must discover the Pilgrim's real name if we're to locate the final key before the evil demons release their queen. If the Pilgrim spent time here in upstate New York, maybe that FBI agent Bucky Johnson could help us with our search. He's investigated paranormal phenomena since the 1960s. It's a long shot, Matthew, but then again, that's nearly 60 years of investigation. Take Hope with you. She can examine any information Agent Johnson might have. Matthew, someone broke into my trailer and took Ronnie Hawk's body. What? After I discovered the body was missing, I came out of my trailer and saw someone heading off towards the victim's van. Matthew, grab Luke and get over to Ronnie's van, and don't forget to ask Agent Johnson about the Pilgrim. We found Ronnie Hawk's body, Matthew, but why would anyone take it? Let's have Ben examine the body again to find out. Ah, Matthew, I was just heading off. Wendell Go and I have a long drive back to headquarters. Before you go, we wanted to ask a favor. Can you recall investigating anything related to someone known as the Pilgrim? The Pilgrim? Yes, that does ring a bell. It was an investigation from roughly a decade ago. Poking around cold cases is a hobby of mine. I keep them here in my... Oh dear, would you look at that? I've misplaced my briefcase. That's what happens when an 80-year-old does field work. I last had my case at that abandoned cabin near the falls. If you find that, my files are inside. It's a total long shot that there will be anything useful, Matthew, but let's head to that cabin and take a look. And I can't let you do this for nothing, Matthew. Here, you take this. Nice. Got it. I don't know why we're digging through decades-old FBI files, Matthew. What are the odds we'll find anything about Rathimium? Well, we'll know soon enough. This FBI briefcase must be Agent Johnson's. Let's open it up and see what we've got. Got it. See, Matthew, just like I said, nothing but a stack of dusty old... Wait, you're right. That folder has the Pilgrim written on it. Maybe there is something to this after all. It'll take me a while to go over this file, Matthew. I'll let you know when I've finished. 6 hours. I'll see you guys when these two are finished. For now, this is Matthew. Catch you later. And we have returned. Let's get the results of Ronnie's body once again. I've completed my examination, Matthew, but I can't find anything that would identify who stole Ronnie Hawk's corpse. But one thing's really weird. Someone's drained the body of blood. Apart from the samples I took from my previous autopsy, every last drop is gone. Someone drained his blood? Could this be the work of a vampire? No, we can rule that out. There's no bite on the body, just a single puncture mark on his arm. Looks like a dead end, Matthew. Not necessarily. I've been studying Ronnie's book about halfling vampires, and Dhampir blood is quite valuable on the black market. and selling supernatural goods is exactly what Reggie Pratt told us he was doing these days. So you think Reggie Pratt stole the body of his former business contact in order to drain and sell his blood? It's a morbid thought, but entirely possible. Matthew, let's confront Reggie about this. I do have 3 additional sticker packs because I did start the first case of the World Edition in collection mode. Congrats solving Ronnie's murder, Matthew. I heard the killer was some strange goat man or something. We know you weren't sorry Ronnie was dead after he tried to extort money out of you. So you try to earn some money back by stealing his body to sell his vampire blood on the black market. What? No, I would never do that. Well, someone did, and you're our prime suspect. I had nothing to do with it. I can prove it. Ronnie sold me a device that tracks supernatural creatures. I use it to find new customers. All you need is a sample of a creature's DNA. Vampire blood, werewolf hair, that kind of thing. If you still have some of Ronnie's blood, that machine can locate the rest of it. Ben has some samples of Ronnie's blood from his initial autopsy, so where's this device? It's in the pocket of my street clothes. I left them here after I changed into my costume. If you're lying, Reggie, we'll come find you. Let's search the ballroom for that device, Matthew. We can grab a snack while we're here. I'm starving. And as you can tell, I'm only down to the 1 hinters, but I do have a lot of 5 hint bonuses. And some of them are going to use because I'm doing collection mode. There we go. These clothes must belong to Reggie Pratt, Matthew. If that supernatural radar is in that pile, we can use it to find who drained Ronnie's blood. Got it. This device looks promising, Matthew. I guess it works like a GPS tracker. Let's put a sample of Ronnie's blood into this panel. With any luck, it'll... Look, the device is returning a signal. Ronnie's drained blood is at Roxanne Vega's hotel room in Niagara Falls. So she was the one who stole Ronnie's body. Why would she take her son's corpse? We need to find out now. Oh, Matthew, what are you doing here? What are you doing is what we want to know, Roxanne. Stealing the corpse of your dead son, then draining his blood. How did you track me down? Never mind that, just tell us what's going on. Okay, you're right, I stole that blood, but I wasn't selling it. Dampier blood has strengthening properties for vampires. If the members of my coven drank even a sip of my son's blood, it would increase their strength tenfold. What? You virtually robbed the grave of your dead son so you and your cohorts could be more powerful? That's despicable. I know. I don't know what came over me. I was just acting in the best interests of my coven. You can tell it to the Vampire Council in Transylvania. We'll make sure they know what went on here, and we're confiscating that blood. I'm truly sorry, Matthew. Please, take this as a token of my remorse. The FBI file on the Pilgrim seems to be about Rathimiel after all, Matthew. It's an unsolved murder case. A man was found burned to death here in Niagara Falls. The body was burned beyond recognition, so the man was never identified. But the investigating officers nicknamed him the Pilgrim because he had a coin in his pocket from the colonial era. And get this, forensics found traces of sulfur on the body and on the crime scene, which was never explained. Sulfur and a matching nickname. It sounds like this victim was Rathimiel, and his murderers could only have been other demons, the Queen's loyal followers. I guess you're right, Matthew. Agent Matheson might have more information about this cold case in the FBI database. I'll forward him the file now. Then we can get Matheson on the line. Let's get Agent Matheson on the line, Matthew. I doubt he'll know anything about the Pilgrim file, but it's worth asking. Matthew, I've heard nothing but good things about you from Agent Johnson. He's pretty impressed by your work. That's great to hear, Agent Matheson. Now, about that file I sent you. Ah, yes, the Pilgrim. I've checked our database, and I didn't find much, but I did get something. There's an address connected to the dead man known as the Pilgrim, 95 Tumbleweed Crescent, in Salem, Massachusetts. Tumbleweed Crescent? What an odd name. Yes, and I'm sorry to say there's nothing explaining how it's relevant. All that's listed is the address. That's okay, Agent Matheson. Thanks for the assist. Well, this is progress, isn't it, Matthew? Rathimiel was killed in Niagara Falls years ago in a manner that suggests it was a demon attack. And he has some connection to an address in Salem. I'll compile a briefing on this and report it to the chief. That was some good work, Matthew, tracking down who stole Ronnie Hawk's body. Who would have thought that Roxanne Vega would stoop so low, draining the blood from her own son just to increase her coven's power? At least we made progress with that FBI file about the Pilgrim, Chief. Now we know how Rathimiel died. File? What file? The investigation into the murder of Rathimiel. Hope was preparing a full report. That's news to me. Hope, what's this about a file? Sorry, Chief, I was just following up on one small detail in that file. I can fill you in now. It's not like you to be late with the briefing, Hope. What's this file all about? According to FBI records, Rathimiel, Arthur Darkwood's ally from the demonic Civil War, was killed in Niagara Falls some years ago. Dubbed the Pilgrim by the officers involved, this dead man was also connected to an address in Salem, Massachusetts. Now I spent the past hour looking into the history of that property, 95 Tumbleweed Crescent. While there's no record of the address's previous owners or tenants, I can tell you that the address is now a witch museum. A witch museum? Like the Salem witch trials and all that? Exactly. That's unexpected and unusual, but at least it's a concrete next step for us to follow. Come on, Matthew, let's regroup with the rest of the team about what happens next. Matthew, we came to Niagara Falls to learn about Rathimiel's human identity, and it turns out this is where he was murdered. The FBI investigated the murder, but the killers were never caught, and the victim's identity was never established, but circumstantial evidence suggests it was the Pilgrim. Sulfur was found on the crime scene, and we know that only demons are capable of killing other demons. And since Rathimiel was the only one who knew where the 5 keys to the Demon Queen's cage were hidden, I bet that's where his murderers killed him for. Since they've only recently managed to gather 4 of these keys, Rathimiel must not have divulged anything. But that also means we still don't have any lead ourselves on the final key to the Demon Queen's cage. We do have one lead, however. Rathimiel had some connection to an address in Salem, Massachusetts, which is now a witch museum. Whatever that address meant to the Pilgrim, we need to find out. So pack up, everyone. We're heading to Massachusetts. So I am going to open those 3 sticker packs from Case 1 in the World Edition. March 19th, that's another Thursday. I'm currently on spring break right now, so I don't have to wait long. Okay. Well, this is the World Edition novel. Now this one. Okay, and that's going to do, and I'll be seeing you guys on March 19th. So for now, this is Matthew. See you soon.